Boy, oh boy, I got a ton of notes on this song. This a massive hit, two times around, one for Aerosmith and one for DMC and Aerosmith, and the history of this song is quite riveting. The Run-DMC version of Walk This Way, the album Raising Hell, produced by Rick Rubin, a big Aerosmith fan. You might notice near the beginning of the video, Run-DMC, they're banging on the wall. Just shut the noise down. Aerosmith is jamming out. And that wasn't altogether make believe. That was not pretend. That wasn't all acting. They were not enthusiastic about this collaboration, Run DMC. Yes, it is true they did mold heavy metal with rap and songs like King of Rock, and there was Rock Box, which came out. God, I remember when saw the video to Rock Box on not MTV, it was Night Tracks, 1984. I thought, man, this is one hell of a jam right there. Of course, didn't make top 40, just too street to cross over into pop. But this collaboration with Aerosmith, they saw this as a step backward or a step sideways. Either way, it was not a step forward for Run DMC. That's the way the two rappers in Run DMC, Joseph Run Simmons and Daryl DMC McDaniels. I'll just call them Run and DMC, the two rappers. When not Steve Perry, when Joe Perry of Aerosmith walked into the studio, he got a cold shoulder from Run DMC. They weren't even sure they're going to put this thing on the album. Boy, oh boy. Probably the person who was responsible more than anything else for this collaboration was Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin, a big Aerosmith fan. Run DMC, they came across Walk This Way when they were looking for backbeats or break beats to use in their DJing. And as a matter of fact, they never even heard of Aerosmith. They thought the group was called Toys in the Attic because that was the name of the album. Rick Rubin, he thought it was a good idea for Run DMC to use the record. Not only that, but how about a collaboration with Joe Perry and Steve Tyler of Aerosmith. He talked to the DJ. There was a DJ in Run DMC, Jam Master Jay. Rick Rubin suggested to Jam Master Jay, why don't you call Steve Perry? Well, not Steve Perry. I keep thinking Steve Perry of Journey. Why don't you call Joe Perry? Why don't you call Steven Tyler and see if they would like to collaborate on this record with Run DMC, do a remake? And Joe Perry agreed to it. His son, Joe Perry, had an 11-year-old son who was in the Run DMC. He was blasting Run DMC and hip-hop in his bedroom on his stereo system, his 11-year-old son. Therefore, Joe Perry was familiar with Run DMC. Run DMC, now here's what happened. Rick Rubin gave Run and DMC, the rappers, he gave them a copy of Walk This Way, the original version by Aerosmith, which in itself was a massive hit in the winter of 76 and 77. He said, listen to this record and learn the words to it. Run and DMC, they sat down, they listened to the record, they didn't understand a damn thing that Steven Tyler was singing. It just sounded incoherent to them, and they hated it. And they said to Jam Master Jay, their DJ, we're not doing this, man. We're not doing this ass. This ain't gonna work. And Jam Master Jay, he said, well, look, Rick Rubin, the producer, he's got Steven Tyler, or Steve Tyler. I keep thinking it's Steve Tyler. I'll just call him Steven Tyler, the lead singer of Aerosmith. He's got Steven Tyler and Joe Perry in the recording studio. They're ready to go. And they're going to record this song, guys, with or without you. But Jam Master Jay suggested a compromise. He said, well, I tell you what, you two guys, Run and DMC, instead of singing the entire verse or rapping the entire verse of the song, just trade lines between, just rap lines, just trade lines between each other. And they did it. You see if there's anything else I need to add to it. There's another little story I want to share with you that's going to blow you away about this song by RUN-DMC and Aerosmith, Walk This Way. So here's the deal. Joe Perry, he goes into the studio, right? He's got his guitar. He lays down his guitar part. However, there was a section in the song that required a bass. It was a bass part, bass guitar part. But Joe Perry didn't bring his bass guitar. I can't play this part. I don't have my bass guitar with me. Well, there were some kids hanging out in the studio. They saw history in the making. They wanted to help. They lived nearby. These kids lived nearby. They went to their house or their apartment and somebody brought us bass guitar, gave it to Joe Perry, and he played it. He played the bass part. Those guys who helped out was another act that Rick Rubin was working with at the time, the Beastie Boys. I swear there is something else I want to add. I am missing something. I know I'm missing something that I wanted to share with you. It's something kind of important about this record. Maybe it was about Joe Perry. I'm not sure. Of course, I mentioned his son. I mentioned him recording his guitar part, and of course, RUN-DMC wasn't even sure they won the song on the album. Well, I guess I covered everything, Dan. There's just something that I missed. Dadgummit. There's something that I missed, but I'm gonna have to let it go. This video's run too long anyway. Well, anyway, there's a bit of history on the RUN-DMC Aerosmith version of Walk This Way. It's at number 6, up 1 from number 7. Fantasy playlist of September 6, 1986.